Yeah. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Yeah, yeah, God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
All right, good morning, everybody. How we doing? Good. It's nice to see you all here today. What? Whoa, where's Kitty? Oh, there she is. Here, Kitty, Kitty. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Sorry, that was bad. That was really bad. I hope nobody heard that. Okay. Mike, edit that out. Okay. And anything else that I say that is not in alignment today. All right. So welcome. My name is Reverend Michael McMorrow. I'm the spiritual director here. And we welcome all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. We have a little thing that we like to do here called Hugs and Handshakes, where we just check in with each other and say good morning. That's good. No, it wasn't. All right, so please help me welcome to the platform our presider this morning, our friend Wayne McDonald. Yes. So let's all take a deep, conscious breath. Release, relax, allow ourselves to surrender to this eternal now moment as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth, is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience which we honor here this morning. So as Wayne lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The eighth candle we light for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center. And as Wayne lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
Join me in this opening treatment, and I invite you to close your eyes if you wish, as we know and recognize God is love, and I am love in action. And I know that today I see with perfect vision. I see with love. I see with compassion and joy. And I know that everything that is around me is perfect, whole, and complete. I love myself. I love each and every person I meet and greet. And with a grateful heart, I rejoice in this day. In this place of community, I give thanks. And with a grateful heart, I release and let go, knowing it's complete and done, and together we say, and so it is. We all desire to learn how to love more or to be loved more. Sometimes we learn about this through the eyes of a child. Some learn unconditional love from a puppy. For me, I've got a new manager. Each day in these past 6 months, I have said many times, I wish I had a puppy. No. Actually, kidding aside, each time I see something new and a different way of doing things at work, I say, you gotta be kidding me. Just when everything is going smoothly. I'm blessed to see new ways to make things even more screwed up. Oh, pardon me. New ways to seeing things differently. I mean, come on, who needs 15 gallons of milk on the break rooms? Anyway, I digress. So, what can I do? First, I must recognize that I cannot change any person. The only thing I can do is change my perception of the person or the situation. Ernest Holmes says, God is complete and perfect. We live in a perfect universe. Let us learn to see as God sees. Or as he says, we must see with perfect vision. Ernest Holmes continues and says, we cannot afford to believe in imperfection, illness, or person's faults. To do so is to doubt God. Know the truth, perfect God, perfect man, perfect woman, God is, I am. So I decided to view my manager with compassion. Although compassion sometimes is perceived as someone suffering, no comment, I decided to focus on the qualities of compassion: patience and wisdom, kindness and perseverance, warmth and resolve. And as I step back from the situation, I can observe how there are different ways to do certain things a different way. It may not be the way I might do them or how my former manager has done them. It simply is different. It's neither good or bad, right or wrong. It's just different. Now, another part of this equation is to focus on what I want. What I want to focus on is the good I see in people. I do not want to be that complainer every day, complaining about the boss or my job or what's going on. I just simply want to say, my day is wonderful. Everything's just peachy, thanks. And it is. It truly is. So let me end with this prayer from Ernest Holmes. Be still and know I am God. I am the manifestation of love within me. All sense or doubt is gone. All sense of fear and doubt is gone. I rest in calm trust and rely on the law of spirit to bring good into my experience. I contend with none, argue with none, and I am filled with wonderful peace and light. And to you, love, peace, and joy. And so it is.
Good morning, everybody. Please welcome David and Kent in the group. Yeah. And we are thrilled as always. Hello. Hi. Please welcome Miss Kitty Holliday. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 He's got my brothers and my sisters in his hands. He's got my brothers and my sisters in his hands. He's got my brothers and my sisters in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the sun and the rain in his hands. He's got the moon and the stars in his hands. He's got the wind and the clouds in his hands. He's got the whole world 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 In his hands, he's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the rivers and the mountains. In his hands, he's got the oceans and the seas. In his hands, he's got you and me. In his hands, he's got the whole world in his hand. He's got everybody here. In his hands, he's got everybody there. In his hands, he's got everybody everywhere. In his hands, he's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands.
All right, I'm going to do the announcements today since Andre isn't here. How you doing? Good? Okay, this Wednesday is your last try at Tai Chi. What time? What day? Wednesday, what time? All right. How am I doing, Nance? No? Okay. All right, tomorrow night we have the start of a wonderful class. If you're looking to get your mind right and your life straightened out, or just kick it into overdrive and overflow, Science of Mind 103, Building a Healing Consciousness. That's with Reverend Kathy and Reverend Jessica Fish. And if you want to get more information on it, Reverend Kathy's over there. And Reverend Jessica is holding the high watch for us today. All right, we have a great concert. If you open up your programs, you'll see this little flyer. And this is for this great concert that we have. Can I ask you to sell tickets today after the service so you can see Wayne? I have a whole little organized packet for you, a la Aaron. So it's a wonderful sound bath healing meditation. Boy, don't miss it. It's going to be really great. These folks are traveling all around the world, and we're lucky to have them here. And you can take this out and hand it. This is a great way to invite people who you've been inviting, but you haven't had a good event. That's not church. So this is a good one for that, and you can just give them this. And then there's a little workshop called Find Your Bowl Mate. We'll find out what that's all about on Wednesday. On Saturday, September 15th, we have the Forgiveness Workshop. All of these things, there are sign-ups in Sparks Hall. I'm doing Exploring Roots. Reverend Jeannie's got the next Sangha installment coming up. And then we have the Discovery class coming up. I think it's October 6th. We have, and these tickets on the show, by the way, they're $22. You can either buy them online, buy them today, but if you show up on Wednesday night, it's $33. So do yourself a favor, save some money. Because then it's only $22. And then, of course, we have the Healing Support Group meeting today at 1 p.m. That's with our head of practitioners, Suzanne Jensen, and friends. So either avail yourself of it or of the session, or support others who are there. And and Chloe has an event coming up this Friday and Saturday. So see her. She's got flyers if you want to attend. She right? So you can see Chloe and get all that information. She's got a whole stack of flyers back there. And what have I forgotten? Is that it? All right. Back to you, Wayne.
Please stand for the declarations of principles. Together, we believe in one universal spirit, manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us.
We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind, which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and in the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
I am opening, I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening, my mind is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening, my soul is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening, my mind is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening, my soul is ready to receive. I am opening. I am opening, I am opening, my mind is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening, my soul is ready to receive.
That song will get you in the zone, huh? So the other thing I meant to say is that this is our official send-off Sunday for Agneta, longtime member and practitioner, former head of practitioners here, been in service in a big way. And also, many of you don't know Kim as well because she's been one of our support members with the kids in the back for years, long time, right? And has been a member of our center since the 80s, something like that. Yeah. So we are sending you both off with love in our hearts and a sense of joy. I think you're both headed for the same state, so you should look each other up. Both headed to Arizona. Yeah, come save money on rent and boil your off. But what's a little heat between friends, as they say in hell? All right. No, I'm kidding. So as I said, I am the spiritual director here. No, we wish you well, and there are refreshments. Thank you, Pam and Suzanne, for that, and anyone else who's participated in. I think there's a card going around for Agneta. So, and we would have had one for you, Kim, but I didn't know that today was your last day, so I'm really sad to see you go, I have to say. And And the gluten-free cake, a la Marlena. Thank you for reminding me. Made it herself. Wow. Just for you. Vegan. Spared no expense. All right, so here we are. Divine Ideas. This is our September theme, is good vibrations through spiritual mind treatment. So in August, we explored what spiritual mind treatment is, which is basically affirmative prayer, a form of prayer that, as the metaphysical master teacher Jesus, the carpenter, spoke to the idea that praying as knowing that it's already done. So that's what a spiritual mind treatment or an affirmative prayer is. And of course, are many nuances to that, mostly because we like to overthink things as human beings. But it's really pretty simple in theory, and I don't know about you, but I often find it difficult to stay focused enough for the kind of demonstration that I want, which is always instantaneous. I want what I want when I want it. So spiritual mind treatment shifts our mind so that our life manifests that which we desire. So spiritual mind treatment is a scientific form of affirmative prayer. It shifts our mind so that our life manifests that which we desire. And if we're faced with a situation we would like to change, like a new manager, you can use spiritual mind treatment to define and claim what you want. And you know, that was really a great lesson on how to use spiritual mind treatment or our teaching, the science of mind and spirit, in the workplace. So I love messages like that, because this really is, more than anything else, it's practical spirituality. How can I bring the divine into every area of my life? Right? So this isn't just a Sunday thing. Right? It's not just a, make a confession, receive a sacrament of some kind, and then, I'm good until next week. Right? And in the meanwhile, I'm trying to, get out of the parking lot without, well, never mind. So, not that I have any experience with that. So I think this is a bold claim, this idea that you can use prayer, affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment, to claim what you want. I think for the average Westerner, this is a bold claim, because it holds as a basic tenet of truth that behind any creation is the Creator. Behind every creation, that there is first a thought of the Creator making things out of itself. A divine idea. Its creation, then, is the thing that it thinks about. So not only does He have the whole world in His hands, but the whole world is His hands. Right? The whole world is everything on it. Is a divine idea, is a manifestation, is a demonstration, a divine idea of the Spirit itself expressing uniquely as you, individualized. And this is a very powerful way to live if we can just get our bloated nothingness out of the way, the divine circuits, as Emerson once said. And that's the rub, I think. And so what does this mean for you and me? Does this mean that we can create in the same fashion as the divine? After all, it is said that we are made in the image and likeness of the divine. Does this mean that I too can create through the use of my mind? Well, the answer is yes, but it's a qualified yes, in the same way that the carpenter qualified his yes when he reminded the centurion and then all of us that it is done unto you as you believe. And in fact, Holmes teaches in the textbook a thing called the law of correspondence. And he says this, that the whole teaching of the Bible is to understand, to know, to realize that God is universal spirit and universal creation. Both things. Universal spirit and universal creation, that the Spirit creates by the power of its Word, and that this Word is the law of its own being. That man reproduces the divine nature on the scale of the individual. Right? So maybe it would be sort of like if God is three-dimensional, we're two-dimensional. Maybe that's a way of looking at it. Right? But it's still a reflection of the divine. That we are a reflection of the divine. That we also use creative power, which works through the law of our word, our own word, and from this he cannot escape. He need only use the power constructively, and all will be well. If he uses the creative power of his thought destructively, then it will what? It will destroy. Now, I think it is self-evident that one would not consciously use this power for destructive purposes, right? And so we have this way of talking to ourselves that may not always support us in our highest and best. And this is, we're not really reflecting the Spirit when we get into that. I told you shouldn't have colored your hair. Look at it. It's off. Okay. Where am I at? So maybe, I need to go this way. So maybe this is a better way of looking at the reflection of the divine. So, again, I think it's self-evident that one would not consciously use this power for destructive purposes. So we go into Science of Mind classes and we start exploring these ideas and inevitably, so if it's all good and it's all God, how do you explain Hitler? Right? Eventually you get to the Hitler question in every Science of Mind, any metaphysics class, right? So, and of course, there have been Adolf Hitlers in the world. There hasn't just been one, right? There have been demonstrations of institutional uses of the power in destructive ways. I'm thinking specifically of apartheid practices, and you can think of some yourself. Examples of the destructive use of the law. And to me, an interesting picture arises. Would human beings, if we really knew that we were playing, like all of us, not just 500,000 religious scientists and maybe another 1 million unity practitioners, right? So that's pretty small people. Pretty powerful for a small number of people, I might add. But if all of us had a sense, if we had a gigantic cosmic Oprah moment where would human beings, if they knew they were playing with the infinite creative power that was directed by our own thought, and knowing this is true, knowing this as truth, would the world look any different than it does today, right now, if everyone knew this? And my guess is probably not. Probably not. So why not? Because part of the human condition is that we can be deluded by our own self-interest, and those delusions then are supported by the evidence that we selectively collect around us to support our perspective of how the world works. So if you ever had a great idea that you were just so convinced that this is the best idea ever, and then you pursued it and you worked it to its end conclusion, and then it all turned to a big pile of horse waste. Has that ever happened? Am I the only one? Think in business. How many people have had a failed business attempt? Come on, tell the truth. Great idea. Oh my God. So many people are going to buy this caramel glazed pizza. I just know. They're going to fly out of the oven and no one shows up. So the great task, the great possibility for humans is to transcend the human condition with its systemic obstacles of injustice, unfairness, of moments of powerlessness, and the choices that we make to get there, right? So we're not denying that there's stuff going on. That is not what, that's not what we mean by denial. What we mean by denial is that we're refusing to give it any power. So this is different. So in the end then, in consciousness, we can either, working the extremes of this metaphor, we can either be a Gandhi or a Hitler. Right? So subjected to abuse in apartheid South Africa, Gandhi chose one path, recognized that he had to heal the beast within himself to bring about effective change. Right? So this was firsthand knowledge for him when he said, "Be the change you want to see." Now, I have a feeling he was probably a peaceful guy to begin with, but everybody has their stuff. I mean, look at the Dalai Lama, man. They kicked him out of his own country, and yet he still is going around preaching peace. By healing that within him, healing the discord within himself. So we can either choose to go that way, the way of Gandhi. Then Hitler, of course, subjected to the aftermath of the Treaty of Versailles, which modern history tells us was very draconian in nature to the German people, and his experiences as a soldier who lost, right? So Hitler chose resentment, blame, brutality, and violence. And in dealing with their own internal struggles in different ways, in time, Gandhi was able to, through acts of disobedience anchored in a commitment to nonviolence, he was able to cast off British imperial rule after 200 years of occupation. Hitler, with his tactics of blaming everything and everyone outside of himself for his fate, blamed the Jewish people and anyone unlike his vision of a perfect human through brutality and violence first, and then eventually brought on World War II and all of its destruction, and then systematically and institutionally exterminating 6 million Jews and other people he decided were undesirable. Destructive use of the law. So what if? To me, this begs the question, and I like to think of the science of mind on deeper levels. What if, as a young man, Hitler not only had a call to conscience, but also accepted responsibility for his errant thinking about the way life is and his part in it and what the relevant solutions would be? Of course, that's not the way it happened. So we can blame it on the devil, that Satan inhabited him, or we can look at it because it didn't happen in a vacuum, right? That there is that unhealed part of the human condition that must be restored to the wholeness of the divine that is already there. It's already there. That we are the ones who hide the light under the bushel basket of ignorance, of resentment, sometimes not even wanting to know the truth. I'm not listening. Yeah, right? Like a little kid. So I'm using these hypotheticals to explore how all of us have pivotal moments in our lives where we must examine and recognize the ways we fall short of practicing principles of equanimity and compassion with others first and with ourselves. Now, I'm using the words equanimity and compassion so that it's a more secular idea rather than using some of the heavier words that we have that have a lot of judgment and stuff. But just equanimity and compassion. To me, this is what's lacking when we get into the wanton destruction of other people's lives, whether property or their lives themselves. Now, it's hard to miss the pivotal moment, so that's in the outer world. Within our own life, it's kind of hard to miss the pivotal moments. It's hard to not miss them because they usually have so much collateral damage. Right? So I'm thinking of divorce, of addiction issues, a health issue, a severe health issue, even a loss of a job or status in some way. That this is the human condition. And our ability to navigate obstacles or even calamity can be strengthened or weakened, right, by what we think about it. Right? So this is not to say that there are not gross injustices in the world going on, maybe even being done upon us. That I can tell you, as a guy who's had to deal with anger issues through most of his life, that the most dangerous place for me is righteous anger. When I have a right to be angry, right? So there's a saying in 12-step, right? This idea that, you know, we all experience as ruts in our lives, but we don't have to move in and furnish it, right? Righteous anger can be that way. And I'm using that example because there's so much fire and passion and adrenaline and attached to it. Right? It's very seductive, at least for my type of personality. All right, so my ability to navigate this thing that I know about myself is either strengthened or weakened by the things that I choose to think about it. So this ability to be strengthened or weakened in the moment is a direct result of my spiritual and mental practices that I engage in before the moment of calamity, before the moment of challenge or the obstacle, before I get the health diagnosis that I wasn't expecting, you know, before I lose my job. That is the spiritual practice that I have, that I do in a consistent way, that establishes my serenity, really. The serenity that I can maintain as I move through something. And in this way, then I can be a reflection of the divine in this way. Usually, it's a little more fuzzy, right? So there's a mountain in that reflection somewhere, but you kind of have to know that the mountain's already there to know that that little bit of white is a mountain. So, when it comes to mental and spiritual practice, we must, we really, at least in the modern era, you know, we have to work to make the time and to take the time for reflection and the contemplation of life, our place in it, or how things could be done differently to really bring about that demonstration that we're wanting to call forth. Right? So how many times have we done a lot of good spiritual mind treatment work and it's not demonstrating the way that we really want it to? And I think, well, I don't think, I know, according to the teaching, it's because I have unconscious stuff going on. That there's an implicit bias, if you will, against the very thing that I'm wanting to call forth in my life at a subconscious level. So one of the ways that we can get around that is to do what our friends of the Jewish tradition have been practicing for thousands of years. So tonight is the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, or the Jewish New Year. And I did not know this until I read this article by Dana Rutenberg, that this is actually a season that, so for these 10 days, from Rosh Hashanah, which is a celebration of the new year, of newness, of new beginnings, and then to Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement. Now, as a non-Jewish person, I thought, oh, great, all you got to do in this faith is just be sorry for one day. That was easy. Right? But no, that is not the tradition. The tradition is to use this season, these 10 days, in preparation for atonement. So I think for myself, right? So And of course, they've had thousands. The great thing about the Hebrew tradition, the Jewish tradition, is that they're very open-minded and tease things apart, and they argue every which side, up, down, sideways, front, back, you name it, right? There have been deep thinkers, very learned people that have teased these things out. So they bring it down to basically three things, right? That there's repentance, atonement, and forgiveness. That's the process. So I feel like it's important for us as religious scientists to adopt these kinds of practices, because it's so easy to get caught up in the majesty of our own thinking. To get caught up in the majesty, oh my gosh, this is really a great idea. And we may not see the ways that we are pushing agenda or manipulating. So in this way then, our ideas, our choices can have unexpected collateral damage. We can overreach in the office. We may be rude or manipulative in trying to get our way. Rather than letting Spirit make the way possible, we're going to get in there and do it ourselves. All right, we're going to elbow our way with sharp elbows. Or in our visioning work, we may be nudged to explore a certain area in our life where we have been afraid to tread because we don't want to look at that. Why am I reactive to people? Can I accept the input of others on my special project at work? Can I still be kind and compassionate in the face of discord? Can I confidently set and maintain a boundary without using anger or animosity to the other? If angry, can I maintain respect for others? Am I conscious of what I put in my body? Do I care for it with regular sleep, exercise, and rest? Can I allow others to be who they are, especially when I disagree with them or even find them disagreeable? Kind of raises the bar, doesn't it? Right? So I spot the error or sin in the old ways. I spot the error or inconsistency. I feel a sense of sorrow, even guilt, around the way that I have acted around my fellows. By the way, guilt and shame aren't necessarily such bad things, right? This is part of how our social construct comes to be, right? And if we feel it, it must be because of the cosmic design. And so it becomes really one more tool for us to use in sharpening the saw within our own spiritual development. Not a, cudgel, is that the word? Cudgel to beat ourselves up with. It's not a cosmic 2x4 to beat ourselves up with, or anyone else either. I feel a sense of sorrow, even guilt, around how I have acted around my fellows. I own my part. I resolve to consciously change that behavior that up until now may have held me bound. So in other words, I have an insight. I say, wow, this no longer serves me. Forget the sin. Forget the guilt at this part. Forget the self-recrimination. With a firm resolve, I am stepping into a new field of knowing that this is going to be different. That I make restitution where necessary with the gift of time, maybe my talents or even treasure. And then, as religious scientists then, we recognize and move to a full and complete remembrance then of our oneness with the divine. Right? So if you think about it, what have we really done? We've taken the time to cleanse what? Our mentality. Right? That we're recognizing that, and I don't mean ego in really a negative sense, but that we are looking at our authentic self, right? And we're seeing the ways that we measure up to our standards and to the ways that we can, maybe bring more mindfulness and attention to it. and knowing that within each one of us lies the great potential of the divine in expression uniquely as each one of us, uniquely as you. So there's like maybe 40, 50 people in here this morning. Somebody came in here with a heart that's a little heart sore today. Right? That the answer then lies within knowing that we are one with the Spirit, at atonement, at one-ment. So we feel a sense of sorrow, we make it right, we make restitution in whatever way, and then we know and recognize the potential of who we are is an emanation and a demonstration of the divine itself, that we choose that we open ourselves up to new and creative ideas, divine ideas, to know that every idea that we are accessing the very mind of the divine itself, individualized as our mind. It looks like an individual activity of brain at the level of this two-dimensional life. And yet it all is an activity of mind. And so we open ourselves as much as we can. We open our mind, we open our heart, we open our soul to be an expression of the divine here on the earth plane. And so then with a cleansed mentality, let's call the musicians forward, because I got the light ages ago, which is the equivalent of the hook. So, because this is what we know ultimately, right? That when we do this kind of work, there's a sense of restoration, a sense of wholeness. And within that is the vitality of life itself, longing to express itself. The Spirit longing to express itself by means of you and by means of me, by means of our life, by means of our lives together. Right? So let's take a deep breath. And with a cleansed mentality, let's know the first line. So today I reproduce the divine nature as me. I reproduce nature as me. And you can say this at home too. That today I use the creative power which works through the law of my own word. Creative power which works through the law of my own word. That today I know that I use the power of divine ideas constructively for myself and others. Today, the power of divine ideas constructively for myself and others, and all is well. So as we go about doing our business today, let's make some time and practice this teaching, this tradition of our Hebrew brothers and sisters. Maybe our own ancestors, if you come from that faith system, to touch that and embrace it. Right? And to commit to ourselves, to allow our mentalities to be cleared free. That we clean the glass. That we allow the Spirit to shine forth from within us, to be that force of good, to be the change we want to see in the world. And so it is.
One, two, 3, 4.
Sing a song, let the world sing along. Sing of love there could be. Sing for you and for me.
song. Make it simple to last your whole life long. Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Just sing, sing a song. La 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 la. La 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 la. Sing, sing a song, sing out loud, sing out strong, sing of good things, not bad. Sing of happy, not sad. Sing, sing a song. Make it simple to last your whole life long. Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Just sing, sing a song. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Sing a song.
That was really beautiful, wasn't it? Yes. I think I'm going to take that class at Pierce for harmony so I can sing like you after 5 easy lessons. That was really great. Thank you. Thanks for that. All right, so as we prepare our gifts for the offering, we'll invite our ushers to come forward.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit gives through us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit lives and breathes through. Spirit lives and breathes through
So as we go within for just a moment longer, whoops, we forgot one. Just recognizing and knowing that the gifts presented here this morning are a demonstration of consciousness that knows and knows that it knows that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so from the generous heart of the individual from which these gifts have been offered here this morning, we, representing the heart of this spiritual community, accept these gifts with deep respect, love, and appreciation as we know together they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless the lives of each one here this morning, the lives of anyone connected to this center in any way, that we extend these good tidings and this blessing to our friends in our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, that in this co-creative practice with the divine, that we see the full and complete demonstration of the Spirit on the earth as well. And to the extent that we know this to be so, we see it demonstrating it in all ways, great and small. This lifts our hearts. We feel a sense of grace and power that propels us into ways of spiritual living that lift ourselves and the lives of others along with us. And that's a good thing. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So please help me thank lovely Rita and Miss Chloe. And let's see if we got any youngins over here. No one's here. Okay, so again, please stick around. Help us. We do have refreshments over there, Daniel, so you're welcome to join us. And help us honor Agneta and Kim and give them a little send-off. So this is your last chance to hug them up and love them up. And we'll just know for Jean, if you're watching, we're hugging and loving you from a discreet distance, which is the way you like it. So, yes. And we love you, man. We're going to miss not having you around. So with that, thank you for being here today. Let's invite our practitioners and ministers to circle the room and get our pal Wayne to pray us out. Thanks for being here.
So, join me in this closing treatment. I invite you to close your eyes if you wish. And as we just go within, just know and recognize God is joy, laughter, peace, and difference of opinions. And that's all God, that's all good. And I know that in this day as we step forward, we do it with a lighter heart, with more joy, more peace and calm. And I know and recognize that in this day, we can easily and effortlessly look at ourselves in the mirror and know we are whole, perfect, and complete. We are exactly where we are, and nothing needs to be changed. We can just give our blessings and know life is great. And with a grateful heart, I give thanks for this service. I give thanks for the healing that is already taking place right here, right now. And joyfully, I release and let go, knowing it's completed and done. And together we say, and so it is.
Please stand for the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin